What's up, my Foxes? I got this great comment from Nemesis to list my top 10 shows to watch, and honestly, it's got me super excited to share these shows I love with you guys so much. Thanks so much for all the subs, likes, and comments. You guys rock. I'd like to note that I comprised my list on shows I absolutely enjoyed. That means I gave 2 thumbs up, and not everything could fit on the list. I'd also like to mention that not all my favorite animes or shows are found on Netflix, which is a bummer, and therefore my list is only comprised of my shows that I love on Netflix. Here we go. Number 10, Naruto/Naruto Shippuden. This show may seem like a children's show about a very loud and annoying boy ninja trying to become Hokage in his village, but you'll quickly see there's so much more to it. Everyone has their own unique moves, and there are plenty of epic battles. The characters are well developed and the storyline is amazing. Unfortunately, Netflix doesn't have the Shippuden anime, though they do have every Shippuden movie for some reason, which is really weird. Anyway, they're both definitely worth the watch. Naruto first, and then Naruto Shippuden. Number 9, 13 Reasons Why. This Netflix original is actually pretty amazing. Honestly, I wasn't really into this one when it first came out. I had put it on my list because it seemed mildly interesting, but I'm so happy I finally gave it a real chance. This is about a girl who ended up taking her own life, and she lists 13 reasons why on cassette tapes. It tackles hard issues and makes sure you, as the viewer, know how or when to contact support lines or someone in an adult position that you know and trust if you're in these same positions. You start to care for the characters quickly, and before you know it, you're halfway through the series asking what else is going to happen. Number 8, Avatar: The Last Airbender / The Legend of Korra. Guys, I don't know about you, but I watched a ton of Avatar: The Last Airbender when I was a kid, so I was overjoyed to be able to watch them all in order and watch the follow-up series too. If you don't know, Avatar: The Last Airbender is about a young airbender who became the Avatar who was lost to the world hundreds of years ago. Fortunately, Katara and Sokka find him frozen in a block of ice. Aang meets a lot of new people on his travels. Being hunted down by Prince Zuko, a firebender, he meets earth, fire, and waterbenders, which he'll need as he needs to master all 4 elements if he wants to be able to beat Fire Lord Ozai, who is hellbent on taking over the world. It's a really good anime. Like, it looks like it's for children, and maybe it was intended, but there's so much more layered into it. It is definitely meant for all ages. Number 7, Stranger Things. This show is very good. It's about a small town called Hawkins and the mysterious happenings of it. Of course, a bunch of kids get pulled into the mix when they make friends with a young girl named Eleven. She has special powers which are necessary in fighting the creatures that are escaping from the Upside Down. The Upside Down is a parallel world like our own, but filled with these nasty, weird creatures. Now, you may be thinking that this should be closer to the top of my list, and though it is a really, really good show, I've made my list starting with all my favorite shows available on Netflix, which made it so hard to choose only 10. Number 6, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. We all know Breaking Bad. It swept through the world like Stranger Things when it debuted. It's about a mysterious chemistry teacher turned drug dealer to help pay for his extensive chemotherapy. With a brother-in-law in the DEA, an old student who happens to push meth on the street, and his own wife, son, and new daughter to think about, Heisenberg was created. He's known as the master chemist behind Blue Ice, the purest meth to hit the streets ever. It's definitely a must-watch, along with its predecessor, Better Call Saul, which does an amazing job of setting up how Saul Goodman came to be, who is actually my favorite character in the entire series. Number 5, Blue Exorcist. This anime is one of my absolute favorites. It's about a boy named Rin Okumura who was raised by a priest that's an exorcist, but Rin had no idea. He also finds out that he is the son of Satan, and his powers were locked away in a sword until recently when the seal was broken. With the seal broken, demons of all shapes and sizes are hunting him down in the name of Satan. Rin vows to kill Satan and decides to follow in his brother's footsteps and become an exorcist too. Though he has no idea how to control his powers, and if the other exorcists knew he was the son of Satan, he would be killed immediately. Rin fights not only to save and protect his brother and new friends, but to keep himself alive long enough to exact revenge on the man who seems hellbent on taking over his body. Unfortunately, Netflix only has the 2nd season, even though they did have the 1st season at one point, because this is where I watched it, but somehow it's just disappeared and replaced with only the 2nd season. Still worth the watch. but do go watch the first season somewhere else first. Number 4, Sword Art Online. SAO has it all. A new video game drops, and as everyone dives into VR to play it, they soon realize they can't log out. They're stuck in this world where death here means death in real life. The developer, Akihiko Kaiba, designed the game like this, and the only way to end the game and go back to the real world is to defeat all 100 floors of Aincrad. Many players take up arms, including Kirito, a beta tester who was able to reach higher floors than most of the other players. Using his knowledge of MMOs and of Aincrad, he levels as a solo player hoping to one day end this hell. Along the way, he meets many people, makes lots of friends, and becomes widely known as the Black Swordsman. Most of us would probably think being stuck in a video game would be amazing, even with the nasty dying bit. Number 3, Death Note. This is another pretty popular anime. This one centers around a smart young boy named Light Yagami, who is currently bored with life when he sees a notebook fall out of the sky. Upon investigation, he finds that if he writes someone's name while thinking about them, they die. Using this notebook, he wants to become the new god of this world and create a world of justice. The world soon catches on that an outside force is killing all these people, and the populace name him Kira. The police get involved and call in L, a brilliant young detective who seems to be hot on Light's trail. He decides to play a game with L, trying to befriend and get away with being Kira. The voice actors are downright amazing, especially Light. It's another must-watch on my list. If you like mystery and suspense, this one is definitely for you. Number 2, Vampire Diaries. This show has been around for a while, long enough to get 2 spin-off series, one called Originals and another called Legacies. Technically, Originals is a spin-off of VD and Legacies is the spin-off of Originals. I haven't watched Legacies. I'm a big rewatcher when it comes to spin-offs, so I like to be caught up on all the details, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. The show is about a girl who falls for a mysterious guy named Stefan, who ends up being a vampire. His brother, Damon, also a vampire, wants to make Stefan's life hell and decides to go after Elena too. She gets pulled into a love triangle as she tries to overcome her parents' sudden death with her brother. As she discovers this new world, she finds out her best friend is a witch, and that for some reason she looked like a girl named Catherine from the 1800s that both Stefan and Damon were in love with. This show is really good, and maybe it's made it so high on my list because I actually read the books by L.J. Smith way back in middle school before the show came out. And yeah, it slowed down in interest for me in its later years, but that's due to the fact that the author at the time had not written the rest of the story, so the TV show took its own liberties. She has since gone back and written the rest of the story though. And of course, my number 1 favorite show ever that Netflix just happens to have is Code Geass. I can't tell you how many times I've watched this, and every time it still gives me the feels. I'm not even joking. It's about Lelouch Lamperouche, who is actually Lelouch Le Britannia, a Britannian prince who was sent away with his sister Nonali. One day, he finds himself in the wrong place at the wrong time and ends up acquiring the power of Geass. So maybe it was the right place at the right time. For him, it manifests as absolute submission. He uses this power to take revenge on his family and his father, the Emperor, for killing his and Nonali's mother, and thusly making Nonali blind and crippled. He dons the Mask of Zero to create a peaceful world, one in which his sister Nonali can live happily. He is a master strategist and forms the Black Knights, a military force bent on defending those who cannot defend themselves, starting with Japan. They use these cool nightmare frames, which are huge metal bodies, to fight each other. He ends up having to go face to face multiple times with his childhood best friend Suzaku. Suzaku doesn't know it's Lelouch, and at first, Lelouch has no idea the Lancelot nightmare frame is piloted by Suzaku. But nothing will deter Lelouch from his vengeful path. This anime has a really great story, not only with his royal family and how he's choosing to make amends, but the existence of Geass and how that plays into everything. I've watched it so many times and I feel like I keep finding more things. So here's the question for you. Are you willing to kill some to save the many? Or would you rather save some even if it meant hundreds or thousands more would die? Alright, so that's technically the end of my list, but I feel like there's one more I need to throw on because it's this series and it's a huge show that probably everyone's already watched, but if you haven't, you really need to. So number 0, here it is, Supernatural. This one is kind of a no-brainer to me. It's been out for years, and yes, it is kind of scary, but really don't let that deter you. It's really not. You really get used to its dark scenes and jump scenes pretty quick. It's about 2 boys who lost their mother to a demon who burnt her on the ceiling when they were young. Years later, Dean goes to Sam to get his help in finding their dad, who went on a supernatural hunting trip and hasn't been back. Sam helps only for the weekend and comes home to find his girlfriend on the ceiling burning just like his mother. They then set out, going after any supernatural sounding case they find, lying and stealing to survive on the road while they look for the dad and save people from the scary unknown as they go. You really get sucked into the story and want to see the boys not only find their dad, but find the creature that took so much from them. It has amazing actors, a really intriguing storyline, and there's always some new twist. Alright guys, for real, that's the end of my list. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm always looking for new shows to watch, so let me know your favorites in the comments. Alright guys, till next time.